It's not often that a teacher in only his second year here is selected by the class to deliver the faculty address. This well-deserved honor goes to an upper school English teacher who has made quite a mark for himself during his brief time with us and will be greatly missed as he moves on to other endeavors next year. I'm pleased to present the 2015 faculty speaker and now co-recipient of this year's Upper School Teacher Excellence Award, Mr. Ollie Haider.
Wow, so first of all, I had all these mean tweets about you to read. First of all, congratulations to the St. Stephen's graduating class of 2015. Good job, guys. To write this speech, I adopted the senior approach. I asked for an extension. They said no, so I hope this goes okay. Traditionally, on occasions like this, somebody wise and wonderful is called on to say a few words, impart knowledge or a lesson, send you off with beating hearts and inspired hope. When chosen by the class, the commencement speaker represents, in some ways, the students. You chose me. Last year, many of you remembered Jim Woodruff delivered the graduation speech. Jim, sagacious, esteemed, eloquent, a spiritual Magellan, the consummate teacher, a good choice. You chose me. Some words students have used to describe me: sassy, sarcastic, grouchy. These are real. Critical, argumentative. Basically, I'm Lauren Mays. I can't help but think, what in the world does this say about you? Like the rich characters of those books I know you read every word of, Wuthering Heights, Tortilla Curtain. You have in many ways grown over the course of your tenure at St. Stephen's. You're my kind of class. I even like to think of myself as a senior. We are one. You are me, and I am you. Whereas last year's graduating class was one big happy family, you are, let's say, fiercely independent. Who can forget the great debate over Workplace Thursday? Nikhil Prabhala had some excellent things to say, but nobody had time to read the whole thing. How many classes vote for student speaker and end in a three-way tie? Cord Meyer, he's your symbol of democracy. Last year's seniors were a real rough bunch, but they're nothing compared to Annika Brink last year at Powder Puff. You guys are out for blood. Like I said, my kind of class. But you're an accepting bunch. Nobody can take that away from you. Those of you who had me junior year, remember that first paper? How many of you saw that first P- and said to yourself, Mr. Haider, tough as nails, but he means well? You were all so appreciative. Afterward, John Parker even wrote me a poem. And speaking of accepting, have you heard of Pizza Group? You know Mean Girls? Anthony Jones is sort of like Regina George. And you might not know this, but Ian Devlin knows everything about everyone. That's why his hair's so big. It's full of secrets. On Wednesdays, they wear pink. It's been a good 2 years on the Hill. You stuck it out. Every day, you were here. Right, Tony Mono? How many points did you end up with? The advanced mathematics necessary to keep track of that is beyond anyone's ability. And I'm pretty sure Chloe Hooks basically skipped junior year. She said she was in Washington, D.C., but I kept marking her absent anyways. Good one, Chloe. You've seen a lot of things. If you were in my class, you saw Anthony Jones performing Hamlet in full drag, wearing, in his own words, his mother's best clothes. But seriously, this was unexpected and boundlessly gracious of you. It's an honor, and I intend to do my best. Because I'm not much older than you, I worked very hard to avoid writing a speech that came off as me lecturing you on the real ways of the world. Instead, I want to share some things I've been thinking about, some questions I've been asking, in the hopes that we both come out of today on the better side of things. If you know me at all, you know that I'm obsessed with being right. Maybe some of you share this quality with me, unless we disagree, in which case I'm sorry, but you're wrong. The other day, my wife and I were watching television, and an actor whom we both recognized, though we couldn't remember from where, came on the screen. When the nagging itch of familiarity became too great, one of us, me, gave up and Googled the show and read where we'd seen him. For some reason, shame settled over me. I was so uncomfortable with the thought of not knowing that I reached for my phone to find the answer. And I promise I'm not going to delve into the ills of technology and how it's all making us stupider. I don't believe that. You know I love technology, even when technology doesn't love me back. We all remember Twitter. What I'm trying to get at is my being uncomfortable with not having the answer. I'm not sure technology has anything to do with that. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. What concerns me is that I needed to know what the right answer was. I needed to be right. I felt this imperative. That sounds like an all right, even a noble thing. We should all pursue knowledge, right? If it's easily accessible, what's the problem? You need to know who the coach was for the 1979 Chicago Bears? Wikipedia has you covered. And then you're learning things left and right, and before you know it, you've learned that the black-headed spider monkey is a species of spider monkey from Central and South America, and when mating, females may consort with a male for up to 3 days or else mate with several males. That really happened to me. I was looking up the 1979 Chicago Bears and somehow wound up reading an entry on black-headed spider monkeys. So what's wrong with knowledge? The more you have, the better. But there's something about the pursuit of knowledge, not the lightning-quick, beam straight from the satellite to your phone and directly into your brain knowledge. I'm talking about the heavy lifting sort of knowledge, where you take the risk of being wrong once in a while and maybe discover something along the way kind of knowledge. 2 years ago, I interviewed for this job at St. Stephen's, and I taught a sample lesson on Hamlet and Kurt Vonnegut's essay on the shape of stories. And leading up to today, I've been thinking about that lecture, and to borrow from Joyce Carol Oates, where we're going and where we've been. I went to college to study microbiology and apply to medical school and become a doctor. I was so sure I never questioned it. So when I took an English course on the short story and began writing my own, and having way more fun doing that than organic chemistry, I was faced with a dilemma. Could I have been so wrong about my path, my future? Had I wasted a year doing the wrong thing? And despite my parents' protest, I transferred to a small satellite school and studied English and creative writing. And it wasn't immediately apparent to me that I had made the right decision. In fact, I spent this entire year thinking I had made a mistake. Before the end of the year, I applied again to my old school. But before I transferred back, a teacher reached out to me. She read a story I had written and asked me to come in and talk to her. This drastically changed the shape of my story. From there, I applied to graduate programs in fiction, and eventually I found my way to St. Stephen's and to all of you. Earlier, I alluded to an in-class essay I assigned at the beginning of your junior year. When I handed back those first papers, I wondered yet again if I had made the right decision to teach high school. I stumbled during those first few months. It was difficult and strenuous and challenging. Except there's something about falling down, about scraping your knee. You learn resilience. Mistakes are important. It may seem wrong at the moment, but it's perhaps the most right you'll ever be. This is how right I was. I met all of you. Lily Ferraro, no matter where you are or what you're doing, you've always stopped to say hi and ask me how I'm doing, and I've always appreciated that. Catherine Canby, you can barely get through a conversation without laughing. And then you make me laugh, and before you know it, everybody's laughing and happier. Colin Hancock, you are a historian of people and culture, striving to preserve and protect. You're doing good and important work. Rachel Kessler, you pushed through impossible poetry tests and came out on top, and UT is lucky to have you. Jackster Kim, Where are you, Jackster? You have never once missed a salute. I forever salute you. Kay McAnally, you see the world with such a beautiful perspective. Riley Rudy, you've made me a star in every capacity of the word. Zibby Smith, you are the most positive and well-meaning individual I have ever met. Cole Thompson, you bring the most unique perspective to every conversation, and we're all richer for it. Lily Beveridge, you've taught me to throw myself open to each and every possibility, even if that makes it harder on myself. Amari Bethel, I've never been as strong as you, and you inspire me. Lauren Gary, you made me want to be a better teacher every single day. Anthony Jones, when I was nervous about coming back to school, thinking everyone had forgotten me, you saw me and told me you missed me. I've never told you just how much that meant to me. Lauren Mays, you have a lot of bark, but you also have more compassion than most, and your empathy for the world moves me. Annika Brink, you're stronger than most people I know, and you intimidate me. Carson Smith, you scare me. Ricky Vega, I love kicking you out of class. Noah Murphy, I love kicking you out of class as well. There are so many of you that I want to thank. Everyone I taught during junior year, my fall term sports lit class, you guys were amazing. If you came and sat at my lunch table just to talk, in each and every way, you've all made this the right decision for me. I hate to leave St. Stephen's, but I think it's right in some ways to leave with you. I started St. Stephen's with you, and I will leave St. Stephen's with you. And maybe what I've learned is how poisonous it can be to be so sure that you turn yourself away from other possibilities, but also other people's perspectives and experiences. Admitting to myself that maybe I'm wrong is difficult, but look at what you gave me. With all of you, I have added more to my family. Congratulations on all of your achievements, and I wish you way more than luck. I hope you can, just like me, be wrong. Thank you.